As the previous phase of the Old Covenant was coming to an end, the people of Israel, wanting to be like the nations around them, reached out to God and asked Him for a king. God provided a king for them in the person of Saul, but Saul was a foolish king, and he caused much trouble for the nation of Israel. After a time, God raised up David to be a new king, a good king, and through him, God established Israel as a powerful nation. He gave them victory over their enemies around them. Music was added to temple worship, and the idea of succession was introduced. As always, men were sinful. The kings made mistakes. David himself fell into sin. His son Solomon became guilty of idolatry, was guilty of having multiple wives, and was guilty of building wealth and power. A consequence of this infidelity through the kings was that the nation became divided into two, which was Israel and Judah. Judah eventually became enslaved to the Assyrians. Israel followed after a time and were enslaved by the Babylonians. And then Israel disappeared altogether into slavery and a loss of identity. After 70 years and being freed from Babylonian captivity, Israel reformed in their own land, but they remained enslaved, eventually to the Romans. The only real leadership they had at this time was through the prophets. Despite Israel's failings and enslavement, they still did manage to spread knowledge of God to the nations around them. The temple was rebuilt, and though enslaved, Israel continued. They were protected by the Babylonians, followed by the Persians, and then the Greeks, and then finally the Roman Empire. The last prophet God raised up was John the Baptist, who identified and baptized Jesus. This marked the beginning of Jesus' ministry and the eventual fulfillment and obsolescence of the Old Covenant. The consequences of their disobedience, which was the killing of the Messiah, Jerusalem, and more importantly, the temple, were destroyed, which made the continuation of Judaism impossible.